السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
حي على الصلاة
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر
الله أكبر.
لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له قيوم السماوات والأراضين، بعث نبيه محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم رحمة للعالمين، وأشهد أن محمدا صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم عبد الله ورسوله أما بعد. Brothers and sisters in Islam, we thank the Almighty Allah for giving us an opportunity to be here. We thank Him for His mercies that He's bestowed upon us. We bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship except the Almighty Allah. We also bear witness that the Prophet Muhammad, whosoever the Almighty Allah guides, is really guided. And anybody who goes astray has nobody to blame but themselves. Today is a Friday, the 19th day of Zulqa'dah, 1444 years after the hijrah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It also corresponds, I believe, with the 9th day. We are in the time of the year that is called Ashhurul Hajj, the months of Hajj, meaning the time where we can prepare to go for Hajj. And as we all know, Hajj is one of the major pillars of Islam. Amongst the 5 pillars is very, very strong. And when you observe the 5 pillars of Islam, the Almighty Allah in His infinite wisdom has put them in a way that depends on your capabilities and your abilities. For the kalima shahadatu an la ilaha illallah, it's like the citizenship test in entering Islam. Because for you to be a Muslim, you must have the shahada. And the shahada, عالما بمعناها عاملا بمقتضاها ظاهرا وباطنا. That you really know when you say La ilaha illallah. That is why it's always incumbent and very, very important when someone is reverting to Islam, we need to explain these tenets to the person. The concept of the Shahada. Because that's the baseline for Islam. When that baseline is distorted, then the rest of the issues are going to have problems. That is why Aqidah and Tawheed is very, very important. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam spent 13 years in Mecca dealing with Aqidah and Tawheed. It's very, very important. And this is what makes Islam a unique religion in the world. Some other religions, you have man, God, God, man. Some other religions, you have other human beings having some powers to be able to dictate some affairs. For us in Islam, is La ilaha illallah. And that's it. قُلْ لَنْ يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا هُوَ مَوْلَانَا. Nothing is going to afflict us except what the Almighty Allah wills for us. وعنده مفاتيح الغيب لا يعلمها إلا هو ويعلم ما في البر والبحر وما تسقط من ورقة إلا يعلمها ولا حبة في ظلمات الأرض ولا رطب ولا يابس إلا في كتاب مبين. Everything that happens in this dunya is by the will of the Almighty Allah. That is our belief as Muslims. And until you rectify this belief, and until you emphasize and establish this belief, your level of iman is weak. And each and every one of us is at a level of what? If improvement. None of us is there yet. Because that's why the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told his Sahaba, Jaddidu imanakum. Renew your iman. قالوا وكيف نجدد إيماننا يا رسول الله. يا رسول الله, how do we renew our iman? He said, أكثروا من قول لا إله إلا الله. That you should always say La ilaha illallah. And al-qawl here doesn't necessarily mean only saying. Al-qawl here also means establishing it. So knowing the meaning and then what? Working with it. So you don't say La ilaha illallah, but then your hope and your desires and then your expectations are inclined towards someone other than the Almighty Allah. That is not to say that you can't seek the help of human beings. You can seek the help of human beings based on what the human beings have power over. But then there are things that it's only the Almighty Allah who has it, as He said in Surah Al-Luqman, إِنَّ اللَّهَ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ السَّاعَةِ وَيُنَزِّلُ الْغَيْثِ وَيَعْلَمُ مَا فِي الْأَرْحَامِ وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ مَاذَا تَكْسِبُ غَدًا وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ بِأَيِّ أَرْضٍ تَمُوتُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلِيمٌ خَبِيرٌ. It's only the Almighty Allah who knows the last day. It's only the Almighty Allah who knows what is in the womb of a woman. It's only the Almighty Allah who knows what you are going to get tomorrow. It's only the Almighty Allah who knows when you are going to die. So there are things that it's only the Almighty Allah who has power over, and it's only the Almighty Allah we seek that from. So the Shahada is the passport for all of us. Now, to get to Jannah, you must have a visa and then you must have a ticket. The visa in there are the good deeds. You can have a passport, but if you don't have a visa, you're not getting on the plane. So the good deeds are as-salah, the most important one. Because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the first thing will be questioned upon in the day of Qiyamah is what? Is as-salah. And then al-ahdu alladhi baynana wa baynahum as-salah. The difference between us and the non-Muslims is salah. So as a Muslim, this is something that you must not joke with. That is why the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was always emphasizing in a hadith. He said, "Murru awladakum lis-salah li-sab'i." Order your kids to pray at the age of 7. So it's very, very important. So you can't say, I'm a Muslim, but I'm not a practicing Muslim. Islam doesn't go that way. That is why in almost all the verses, you hear, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Those who believe and then they do good things. So if you say, I'm a Muslim, but I'm not practicing, it's like you're saying you are a citizen, but you don't obey the laws. That's how I take it. But even those people, we need to encourage them. We don't need to, make derogatory statements on them. No, we need to encourage them. We need to educate them that no, this is not how Islam works. You can't say I believe but I'm not practicing. No, that's not how Islam works. Islam is belief and practice. So, salah, for everybody. There are only 2 times that you cannot pray salah. For the sisters, you know the time of the month. For you men, you don't have any excuse. For men, you don't have any excuse. It's only when you are in coma. It's only when you are out of your senses. So for us men, salah, you don't have any time where you say, I'm off today. No. For the sisters, they have off days. We know that. But for you, the men, for us, the men, you don't have any off day. The next one is as-sawm, fasting. And sawm has its own restrictions, has its own, exceptions. This is not a time for us to discuss that. I'm only looking at it from a point of capabilities and abilities. For Shahada, it's for everyone. For Salah, it's for everyone. But for Siyam and fasting, there are some people who have what? Who have been given exceptions. And then comes Zakat. Zakat also has some exceptions. And then finally, Al-Hajj. Hajj also has some exceptions. I just want us to look at Hajj. For those of us who are preparing to go to Hajj, number one, make sure your provision for Hajj is halal. Make sure. Inna Allah tayyibun la yaqbal illa tayyiba. The Almighty Allah is pure. He doesn't accept anything unless that thing is pure. You're not going to go to Mecca with gambling money. Mecca, no liquor money. Mecca, no fraud money. Mecca, no scam money. If you go to Mecca with fraud or scam or liquor or gambling money, you went there as a tourist and not as a Hajj. I'm not saying this, it's the Almighty Allah who says that. And don't take chances. Oh, inna Allah ghafurur rahim, yes. Wa innahu la shadidul iqab aidan. He is Ghafurur Rahim and he is also Shadidul Iqab. He makes it clear. He doesn't accept anything that is what? Impure. He accepts things that are what? That is pure. So don't take the chances and say, I'm going to go to Mecca. You are going to go there as a tourist and not a Hajj. Let's understand this. Don't dupe people and say, when I go to Mecca, I'm going to do ibadah. The Almighty Allah is going to forgive me. The Prophet Muhammad says, anybody who goes and performs Hajj, he returns like the day his mother gave birth to him. No, you are not part of that hadith. That's number one. Number two, you should prepare before you go to Mecca. You should learn. It's very, very important. It is not enough for you to just make the intention of going to Mecca. No, you should prepare, you should learn, you should ask questions. The agencies that you go with, maybe now there are no more agents, but you should learn. You don't have the excuse, you should learn. Because Mecca is not like any other city in the world. Mecca has special rules and regulations. Let me give you an example. Easy thing. In Mecca, you don't hunt. There's no hunting in Mecca. In Mecca, you don't pull down trees. In Mecca, there's nothing like lost or found. So for example, here in Philadelphia, maybe you find something on the floor that belongs to someone, you pick it up. Some of the scholars say you look for the person for 3 months. Some of them say you look for the person for 1 year. If you don't find the person, it becomes yours. In Mecca, if you pick something that belongs to someone, you look for the person until you die. So imagine people who go to Mecca to go and steal. Imagine. In Mecca, there are no arguments. Imagine people who go to Hajj and go and fight. So Mecca alone on itself is a whole institution. It's a whole 4-year college course. Just going to Mecca. Going to Mecca is a whole course that we need to study before we go. And then you need to know what you're going to do. It's not only about labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik. No. There are specific duties, there are specific acts that you must engage in when you go to Mecca. You need to learn all these. Mecca is a basket of good deeds and reward. At the same time, it is also a double-edged sword. Some people go to Mecca and then they get reward and sins. Understand it? The sweetness of the pudding in Mecca is only in saying I'm going to Mecca. But when you get there, you know that it's not just in the saying. And then the next thing is you must be physically fit to go to Mecca, to go to Hajj. Because it's not an easy task. It's not. So all these things come into play when when you are preparing for Hajj. It's very, very important. Number one, your zad, which is your provision, must be from halal. Number two, you must know what you are going to do. You must know about Mecca itself before you know about Hajj itself. There are three forms of Hajj. Which one are you going to do? You don't know. How do we put on the ihram? You don't know. What dua do we do in tawaf? You don't know. You need to slaughter a sacrificial animal. You don't know about that. And then there are do's and don'ts in Mecca. For example, if you see a tree that grew its nut, that tree, some of the Aimma say you have to slaughter a ram to compensate for that. You see the birds that are in the haram, you don't scare them. You scare the birds, hush! You must slaughter a ram to compensate for that. Some people will have to slaughter a whole farm before they come back to America. In as much as it's funny, but it's serious. That is why the Almighty Allah said, لِمَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. For the person who has the means. And the means is not only financial. There is also intellectual about it. That is why sometimes you need to have someone do a simulation video for you on your phone. When you're going on the plane, you're watching the video, you are listening to the du'as. Or sometimes they write things for you on paper. That at this point, this is what you're going to do, this is what you're going to read as a guide. It's very, very important. أقول ما تسمعون واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا عاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله ما بعد. We're speaking about preparations towards Makkah. We spoke about, your provision being from halal. We spoke about, having knowledge concerning what you're going to do, and especially the rules and regulations in Makkah. And then the Hajj itself has its own rules and regulations, coupled with the general rules and regulations of Makkah. For example, if you are in the ihram, you don't officiate marriage ceremony, and then you don't go looking for a wife. How, subhanallah, there are some people that was told that in ihram he was looking for a girlfriend. Yes. You're surprised. That is how low some of us have sunk. 2 women fought in Mina over a man who was not their husband too. That's why I said a lot of people go to Makkah and they come back with curses. In the ihram garb that you wear, it's a sacred garb. That is why the Prophet Muhammad said, if a man dies in ihram, you bury him in the ihram. You bury him in the ihram. Normally we cover the face of a dead person in burying them. But then in the ihram, we leave your head open. We leave it open because you are in a sacred garb. The Prophet Muhammad said, the person will wake up shouting, Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik, Labbaik la sharika laka Labbaik. So it is a sacred garb that you are in. It is not a garb for you to just mess up. Excuse my language. It's a very sacred place. It's a very sacred activity. It's serious business when you go to Mecca. It's a once in a life opportunity that the Almighty Allah has given you. And the Almighty Allah is telling you, when you go through all these rites, I'm giving you a clean slate. I'm wiping everything off between me and you. You are coming home like the day your mother gave birth to you. You don't have any bad criminal record with Almighty Allah. And you think it is a place for you to go and play? You think it is a place for you to go and merry-make? I saw a video of an African community in Mina, dancing in Ihram at Mina. They were dancing. I don't know. Maybe Jibril came and told them that you guys forget about it. Your Hajj has been accepted, so you can dance. They were dancing in Mina. Dancing in their Ihram. They were dancing. I believe it's a wake-up call for all of us. All of us. Even me as a speaker, as a student of knowledge, it's a wake-up call for all of us. That we need to take our relationship with Almighty Allah serious. In Salah, in Hajj, in our fasting, in our nawafil, in our sadaqah, in our relationship with other people, we need to take it serious with Almighty Allah. Because that's the essence of our life in this dunya. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ مَا أُرِيدُ مِنْهُم مِّن رِزْقٍ وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَن يُطْعِمُونَ. We play a lot. We have been told of a janaza, so we need to, help finish the khutbah early so the brothers can go and pray the janaza. So finally, the most important point for me in all this is al-ikhlas. Going to Hajj for the sake of the Almighty Allah. Am I going to Hajj so that I'll taunt other people? Have you been to Mecca before? Do you know how Mecca is? You're destroying your deeds by that statement. Do you know how it is to go to Mecca? Do you know how much money I pay to go to Mecca? You're destroying your deeds. And the fitna of the age is this thing. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. Yo, we're in the Kaaba, man. Innal hamda wa ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. You're destroying your deeds. Nobody needs to know you've gone to Makkah. Nobody needs to know you are doing tawaf. You see, same way you do salah, tawaf is exactly like salah. Tawaf is because to do tawaf you must have wudu. Same way to do 2 units of rakah you must have wudu. To do tawaf you must have wudu. Same way in salah you don't speak to someone else. In tawaf you don't speak to anybody else unless it becomes necessary. But people go to Mecca with their phones when they are doing tawaf, with their phones when they are doing sa'i, with their phones when they are going to do jamarat. I'm recording, man. I'm not questioning their intention or their iman. No. All I'm saying is that at that point in time, it is a relationship between you and Almighty Allah, and the rest of the world doesn't need to know it. It is a conversation with you and Almighty Allah. It is a covenant between you and Almighty Allah. Put the phones away. Put the phones away. When you finish and then you want to have pictures, that's a different thing altogether. You are done, we want to have a picture, that's different. But then in the service, in the act, in the ibadah, why? Why? I was in tawaf with someone, video call. Yeah, I'm in the Kaaba, say a prayer. The person should say a prayer. So yes, you do prayer. You can see. Can you see the Kaaba? Yes. Say a prayer. The Almighty Allah will answer. No. Concentrate, because in tawaf there's every point and the form of your ibadah and the form of dua that you do. Every corner. Rukul al-Yamani, al-Hijr, al-Multazam. All these places have special dua that you're going to do there. It's serious business. At the maqam, there is nafilah that you're going to do. And even the starting point of tawaf, It's important for you to know. With men, al-ittiba, exposing the shoulder, one of the shoulders, is important. But then the only thing that we are interested in is I'm just entering into the courtyard of the Kaaba and pull my phone. Last year in Hajj, I was leading a group and I told them, all phones away, all phones off, put the phones off, put them in your bags. Let's finish the ibadah. When we finish the ibadah, if you want to take a video of the whole city, you can do, that's your business. But then let's finish the ibadah. We went through tawaf, first, second, third, fourth, because we were in a group. Fifth tawaf, we turned, one of us was lost. I said, let's continue with our ibadah, because I told them, when you continue with the ibadah, go and do sa'i. If you don't see us, wait for us on Marwa, because that's the finishing point. Eventually, we will all come and meet at Marwa. When we met him, what happened? He said he pulled his phone to take a picture and then he didn't find us. I said, yes, I told you, don't take your phones out. So my brothers, this phone has caused us a lot of issues in our ibadah. Especially ibadah that must be between us and the Almighty Allah. Someone will say, okay, Sheikh, you say, let's not take your phones. Is this your phone that you are taking video of the khutbah? Isn't it? No, this is different. Because this is an educational something that we need people to have. But then for you to have tawaf, what education are you giving to people? Your tawaf, and then you are taking videos. And in the instance of the tawaf, problem. So the safest way is keep the phones away, concentrate on your ibadah. After the ibadah, you can do whatever other thing you want to do, so long as it's within the confines of Mecca and the rules and regulations of Mecca. And then don't forget, Medina also has its rules and regulations. Finally, one virtue of Mecca and Medina is that Dajjal will never enter Mecca or Medina. It's a virtue that the Almighty Allah has given Mecca and Medina. So please, when you are preparing to go to Hajj, don't forget, your money's halal. Don't dupe people, don't scam people, and go to Mecca. If you do that, you've gone as a tourist. I can tell you that for a fact. Number two, learn before you go. Mecca itself or herself has specific rules and regulations, and Hajj itself has specific rules and regulations. You need to learn that. And then finally, the most important one for me is ikhlas and concentration on the ibadah that you've gone to do. Concentrate on why you are there. Some people pay tens of thousands of dollars to go to Mecca. You can't use that money and then you go to Mecca and then you come back with curses. I told you, Mecca is a place where you can amass good deeds and rewards. At the same time, if you are not careful and then you are negligent, you will come back with a lot of problems too. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك جامع الناس ليوم لا ريب فيه إن الله لا يخلف الميعاد. Earlier on we were told of one of our uncles and fathers who had passed away, and his janaza is after Jum'ah. We ask the Almighty Allah to forgive him and grant him Jannah. We ask the Almighty Allah to give him solace in the qabr. We ask the Almighty Allah to give peace to his family afterwards. We ask the Almighty Allah to also grant us success in this dunya and the akhirah. When our time is due to go to the akhirah, may the Almighty Allah cleanse our hearts and make our iman strong. And may the Almighty Allah put us together with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Jannah. Allahumma anta amartana bidu'aik wa a'tana bil ijaba. Qad da'awnaka kama amartana fastajib lana kama a'tana ya rabbal alamin. Allahumma aiz al-islam wal-muslimin wa adhill ash-shirk wal-mushrikeen wa dammir a'da' ad-din wa ansur إخوان المستضعفين في كل مكان. اللهم من أرادنا وأراد الإسلام بسوء فرد كيده عليه. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. قوموا إلى صلاتكم يرحمكم الله.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت صلاة الله أكبر.